What's up, guys? This is RG giving you another high definition broadcast. Here we are on us.battle.net after a long while. Yes, I've been on hiatus for a little bit, but I am back and I have a lot of schoolwork and work to be done still. So let's go ahead and get on with this wizard PvE theory crafting, and this is going to be for magic find and high level PvE wizard play. The first thing I wanted to show you guys is the electrocute. As always with these type of primary spells, you're going to have one of these equipped, as you will have low arcane or resource power. So you are going to want to use the electrocute here, and I've used this with the surge of power, which is going to make you gain 1 arcane power for every enemy hit by the electrocute skill. So this is actually going to be really awesome because you're going to get a lot of high arcane power regeneration with this electrocute skill, as long as you hit a number of targets. You can hit more than one, obviously, and you'll be able to get that plus arcane power for each person hit by the electrocute. The next thing I wanted to show you guys is a magic weapon here. It's going to increase your damage by 10% increased damage, and it lasts 5 minutes. So this is going to be a skill that you can use as a damage buff as well as a life leech. So any damage that pretty much any damage that you deal with this buff on is going to give you 1.5% of the damage back in life. So any attack, whether it be magic or basic or your primary attack, is going to give you 1.5% life leech. So this is a very, very good skill. As you remember, in Diablo 2 there was a life leech, and it was really, really good life leech to have life leech as a PvE any class, but you could really only have it as a physical class, as life leech didn't work for any magic users. This is going to turn that around, and you're going to be able to do life leech with magic users, and it's going to be really awesome. Now, what I wanted to talk to you guys about with this skill is that you can really switch it up between familiar, this magic weapon, and the energy armor, because check this out, guys. The familiar is actually going to give you a buff as well. If you wanted to, you can actually increase all of the attacks and damage of all attacks by 12% while the familiar is active. Now the only thing is that the familiar can die, and the magic weapon, obviously, it's only if you die that's when it comes off. The next thing I wanted to show you guys here is energy armor. Energy armor actually is very, very good, as it does give you right here, rather than decreasing your maximum arcane power, energy armor increases it by 20. So you're going to get increased arcane power as well as the energy armor itself, which is pretty much gives you an armor buff by 65%. So that's pretty awesome. But for now, I would go ahead and use the magic weapon with the blood magic, which is going to give you the 1.5% life leech on magic attacks, which is insanely crazy, and it's awesome. So next thing I wanted to show you guys is the Frost Nova. The Frost Nova is going to be equipped with the Bone Chill, which is the enemies to take 15% more damage while frozen or chilled by Frost Nova. So not only are you going to be able to increase your damage, you're also going to be able to increase your group's damage, as you will be using your Frost Nova all the time, every 12 seconds, to increase the damage of yourself and your group, as well as being able to chill or snare the enemies that are around you. So this is going to be a really awesome skill to use. The next thing I wanted to show you guys is the slow time. This is also an increased damage skill, which is not only going to increase the damage by 20%, it reduces the enemy attack speed by 20% and the movement speed by 30%. So pretty awesome. It also slows the movement of enemy projectiles by 90%. So every 20 seconds you're going to be wanting to use this on your enemies as a debuff, and that is going to increase the damage done to them by 20%. And if you use it in conjunction with Frost Nova, it's going to synergize and give you a 35% increased damage bonus on those enemies every 20 seconds. And for Frost Nova, remember, it's 12 seconds. The next thing I wanted to show you guys is Meteor. Now these two skills, you can switch up the runes on it, but then you'd have to switch up the passive. So right now, let's talk about Meteor with Star Pact on it. It is going to reduce the casting cost of Meteor to 35 arcane power. Now, some people might want to say, like, oh, go Liquefy or Comet even. Comet is actually a very good skill that I was thinking about using it. But it actually changes the attack to a cold attack, and that's not what I want. Also, if you guys look at Meteor, it's 60 arcane power to cast it. Now this right here, the Star Pact, is going to reduce it to 35, which is going to make you be able to use the Meteor more often and be able to actually attack more people with the Meteor, whereas the Comet is only going to be one of those meteors, and it's going to cost 60 arcane power. Now that does deal 240% weapon damage, but remember, 2 of these is pretty much equal to one of these comets as in arcane power cost. Obviously 35 times 2 is 70, but 60 is very close to that, and Star Pact, you're pretty much going to be able to regenerate that arcane power within the time that you're casting Meteor. So let's just say 2 for the price of 1 here. So that's going to be 400% weapon damage, whereas this one is 240, and it's as cold. And it also stays as fire, which is going to synergize with my passive skills. So let's go ahead and stick with that. Go with the Meteor and stick it with Star Pact Rune. The next thing I wanted to show you guys is Blizzard. Blizzard is going to be an awesome skill. As in Diablo 2, it does not stack, or in Diablo 3, not as in Diablo 2, it does not stack. So basically, this Blizzard skill is not going to be able to stack on top of each other. As you can see right there, multiple casts in the same area do not stack. So if you guys remember Blizzard, Blizzard sorcerers, cold sorcerers, Blizzard sorcerers, they would cast Blizzard on top of themselves like indefinitely, having like 3 or 4 stacked Blizzards on top of themselves. So if you touch them or go near them, then you'll just instantly die because the Blizzards will be like stacked on top of each other. In Diablo 3, you cannot stack the Blizzards. Therefore, you need to blanket an area with Blizzard. Use it as a skill that is going to be AoE, large radius, huge radius AoE, rather than a small AoE radius, but a really, really powerful punch. So we're going to synergize that with the 20 arcane power instead of 45, so it's going to reduce that. It's going to be really awesome because you're going to be able to use that Blizzard a lot. So 25 less arcane power that you have to spend on another Blizzard. You can just use that one Blizzard, or you could blanket the whole area with Blizzards, and it's going to be really awesome that way. The next thing I wanted to talk about is the passive skills. Now, this is very needed. Check this out, guys. Prodigy. When you deal damage with a signature spell, you gain 4 arcane power. As you know, Electrocute is a signature spell that does not cost any arcane power to use. Rather, it is equipped with Surge of Power with the rune that we have equipped it with, which gains arcane power. So every time you hit Electrocute on even one target, you will gain 5 arcane power. Now, every additional target that it jumps to, which is going to be 2 additional targets, is going to give you another 1 arcane power. So that means that every time you hit Electrocute on 3 or more targets, it's going to be 7 arcane power that is going to gain from that. 4 plus 3. So pretty awesome with that. Definitely going to need that, as your arcane power does reduce quite quickly, and you'll be spamming your Meteor and Blizzard at all times. The next thing I want to show you guys is the Astral Presence. Astral Presence is going to be one of those skills that you can pretty much not do without. As you can see on right here, Astral Presence, increase your arcane power by 20 and arcane power regeneration by 2 per second. So you're going to be gaining a lot of arcane power with this build, and you're going to need that arcane power to spam your Meteor and your Blizzard at all times. Next thing I wanted to show you guys is the Conflagration. Now, some people might be saying, well, Conflagration, you only have one skill, that's fire. Let me go ahead and highlight over this for you guys so you know what it does. Fire damage dealt to enemies applies a burning effect, increasing all damage done to them by 10% for 3 seconds. Now, this Conflagration could be changed up. It could be switched out with Glass Cannon, but then again, check this out, decreases armor and resistances by 10%. So the damage increase is increased by 15%, but which is 5% higher than the Conflagration, and it's for all your skills, but your armor and resistances is decreased by 10%, which is a hit that I didn't want to take with this build. Another good alternative is to go Cold-Blooded. Cold damage dealt to chilled and frozen targets increase by 20%. Now what you would want to do with cold-blooded is click cold-blooded and switch the meteor to comet. Now if you switch meteor to comet, it actually transforms the meteor into an ice that deals 240% weapon damage as cold. The impact site is covered with freezing mist that deals 72% weapon damage as cold and slow enemy movement by 60% over 3 seconds. So, cold damage dealt to chilled and frozen targets increased by 20%. Check that off because that is going to give you a slow right there, which is a chill effect, and it's also going to be a frost skill, which is going to be able to synergize with this 20% damage increase. As you can read here in the text for the cold-blooded, it's only cold damage dealt to chilled and frozen targets that increases it by 20%, okay? So if you had a fire meteor here and you cooked it with that, use your blizzard or however you chill them with frost nova, because I believe blizzard actually doesn't have a chill effect because it doesn't say that there is any movement speed debuff on the blizzard at all. So you would actually have to chill someone with frost nova, then blizzard them for this actually to work, the cold-blooded. As you can see, it's only chilled and frozen targets. So you would need to make this meteor into a comet for this cold-blooded to work. And this would work, but the only thing that I'm skeptical of is those units that are immune to cold or resistant to cold, and you can't even kill them as a sorceress. So you want to be able to be diversified in your elemental attacks, and that's why I chose Star Pact, and that's why I also chose Conflagration. Now, with this Conflagration, it's not only your damage, it's all damage done to them. So fire damage dealt to enemies applies a burning effect to that enemy. It's increasing the damage, all damage done to them by 10% for 3 seconds. So as long as you keep your your meteor, that is, up on a target at all times, which is an AoE, remember, it's going to do that damage. And remember, the meteor, it actually burns a molten fire that does 60% weapon damage as fire over 3 seconds. So that's an AoE that's going to stay on the ground. Anybody not even hit by the initial blast that walks into the fire is going to get this conflagration debuff, which is in turn going to buff the damage of your friends on that enemy that stepped into the fire. So that is why I went with this build, guys. I hope you guys like this build, and I hope you like it and comment on it. I definitely encourage you guys to go ahead and make your own builds, as well as comment on this and tell me what you guys want to change with this or how you would tweak it for yourself. And as always, if you guys are watching this straight off of YouTube, please go ahead and check out my channel. It's a really awesome channel, and it'll show you a bunch of different other theory crafting and videos from Diablo 3 Open Beta. And I definitely hope to see you guys in the retail. Again, everyone, thanks for watching, and take it easy. Peace.